Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. The midterm elections are all said and done. A Boy Scout creates a rest area on the Pollyant Trail, and the Lone Ranger rode again.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. The much talked about Michigan primary results are in, and North Oakland County Transportation Authority Director Lynn Gustafson is more than relieved that the millage renewal for NOTA passed in all three communities of Orion, Oxford, and Addison. Gustafson said that she was overwhelmed and humbled by the outcome in which nearly 11,000 residents voted to renew the millage. Nearly 5,000 voted against it. Of particular concern, Gustafson was the Addison voters, who 5 years ago turned the millage down. This year, 1,000 voted to pass it. I'm sorry, 1,100. That's better yet. Well, only 500 voted against it. Addison Township voters also approved a 6-year, $2.5 fire department operational mill and instituted a 4-year, $3.48 police services mill. In both Oxford and Addison, approximately 1/3 of the registered voters participated in this primary election.
In a 3-to-1 vote, the Oxford Township Planning Commission approved nearly 10,000 square feet of new development in the Seymour Lake Township Park. The development includes a 3,000 square foot senior center, a 3,000 square foot TV station to house us, Oxford Community Television, and an almost 4,000 square foot warming and concession building with an open air pavilion. Most of the Planning Commission's discussion centered around the Parks and Recreation Department's request for a waiver from a township ordinance. The new construction requires an 8-foot wide safety path along Seymour Lake Road. A waiver should be approved for this portion of the project, according to Ron Davis, and it was.
This week, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services issued a Don't Eat the Fish alert for Lapeer, Macomb, and Genesee counties due to the presence of PFAS, perfluorooctanic, and PFOS, perfluorooctane sulfacid chemicals. Boy, that was a mouthful, which are prevalent in the fish. According to the Oxford Leader, none of these chemicals were found in community drinking water. To learn more about the ban, go to the Michigan website at www.michigan.gov or read about it in the Oxford Leader.
Well, it's official. The Lone Ranger has a key to our city. Last week, following the Lone Ranger Parade, which filled the streets for nearly an hour of the parade participants helping us to celebrate our annual Lone Ranger festivities, the Lone Ranger rode again and then was honored with a key to our downtown given to the masked man by our very own Ranger, Chief Mike Sowald. Thanks again to Rod Charles, the Lone Ranger posse, and the assistance of volunteers, including the Oxford Chamber of Commerce, for treating us to such an amazing event once again.
Thanks to a local scouts' hard work and commitment, the Pollyant Trail will soon have a quaint and peaceful location for users to stop and relax. Life Scout Logan Streeter and some fellow members of Boy Scout Troop 366 spent part of last Saturday morning making improvements to a .16-acre parcel of vacant land located on Powell Street, just west of Division Street and east of Lauk Street.
Just a reminder to you folks out there who use M24 every day, beginning August 13th, a construction project is scheduled to last up to 2 weeks. The work will extend from Golden Gate Street in Lake Orion to Harriet Street, which is north of Oxford. The project will require a daily and nightly single-lane closure at all times, so be patient and careful out there. Oh,
Ooh,
that doesn't sound like that's going to be any fun.
It's coming.
I go east and west, so I don't have to
You
do
can't
that.
stop it, it's coming.
Oh, speaking of can't stopping it, this morning our power went out again. I live in the Ortonville area, Brandon, and since I moved there 4 years ago, we lose power about once a month.
I don't get it.
It was
What's going
raining. It was raining. It wasn't even really raining, but the lines were wet. And I think that's what's happening. It's old wiring out there.
Well, I got to tell you, here in Oxford, we don't seem to have that problem so
No,
much.
you don't.
At least in our subdivision, all the wiring is underground.
I know.
We've only lost power in maybe the 8 years I've been here.
I miss living in Oxford. In the 30 years that I lived in this community, power would go on and off, but really for an extended period of time, we lost power one time, and it was 6 hours. So I got very spoiled.
Well, you know, you folks over there in Brandon, if you just want to see Terry move to Oxford, which we would love to see,
Keep turning the
keep
power
turning
off.
her power off.
Well, we should contact, I think, all of us in Brandon, and I know there's a lot of you out there that watch us, should probably let our officials know that that's very inconvenient. We're spending the same amount for DTE Energy as Oxford people are, and Rochester and Pontiac, and it doesn't go out that often there. I lived in Leonard for a short time. It happened out there all the time. We contacted our officials out there, and Bruce Pearson got it fixed. DTE said, yes, 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 I know we're supposed to be out there and get it done. They got it done. So maybe if we want to contact John Riley and tell him Brandon deserves to have power, for
Right.
heaven's sakes,
And
on a rainy day.
the thing is, if you folks out there like losing power, fine. If you don't like losing power, like Terry says,
like it.
contact your representative and get this changed for you.
Or they could buy us a generator. That's
Big
it
one.
for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, you can catch us on our website at occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course our regular cable channel. I wanted to say charter. It's Spectrum Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
And coming up is OCTV's very own Cody Wright with the Sports Report. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
The Michigan Renaissance Festival is about to begin. Tell us which OCTV show you're watching and we'll send you a limited number of tickets while supplies last. Just send a self-addressed stamped envelope to 1775 North Lapeer Road and we'll get them back to you. See you there. Huzzah!
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, the International Space Station, or ISS, is barreling toward its expiry date, and NASA isn't ready. Federal funding of the ISS might be cut off at the end of 2024, but without it, NASA won't be able to study the health risks of spaceflight or test technology that will enable deep space exploration. A report from NASA's Office of the Inspector General predicts that many of NASA's research goals will not be complete by 2025. Of 20 main human health risks under investigation, studies on at least 6 won't be done by then. Of 40 technology gaps being addressed, at least 4 won't be solved. Any delay or slip in scheduling could also thwart 19 projects scheduled for completion during 2024. The studies that will not be finished in time include research into how vision and motor functions degrade in zero gravity, risks of cognitive and behavioral problems, long-term life support in space, and spacesuits for longer missions like the flight to Mars. For humans to go into space for long-duration trips such as to Mars, these issues need to be solved, and we can't stop and recharge life support halfway, says Mary Lynn Dittmar of the Coalition for Deep Space Exploration. NASA is working on contingency plans in case these studies cannot be completed on the ISS, including figuring out how some of them might be testable on the ground. But an earlier report found that most of the highest priority research requires at least some portion to be tested in space. Part of the reason to get rid of the ISS is to free up funds for NASA to go to Mars, but without this essential research, such a trip won't be possible. Then there's the problem of who will take over the ISS if the U.S. government stops funding it. A transfer to private ownership is one option currently being weighed up, but the OIG report questions whether this is feasible. It just costs too much money to operate in space. The scant commercial interest shown in the station over the nearly 20 years of operation gives us pause, the report says. Dittmar says that it's possible commercial interests will begin to assume some management of the ISS in 2024 with substantial government funding. But completely turning it over may be another story. Someone will have to pay for increasing maintenance costs as a result of aging infrastructure while figuring out ways to reduce operational cost and generate revenue, says Dittmar. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's challenging, she says. An extension of government funding of the ISS might not be a perfect solution either. NASA's other option for the ISS extension past 2024 under the current operating model, or deorbit, also faces significant challenges, the report says. For one, we don't yet have a way to make sure debris from the ISS will land safely in the ocean if we end up bringing it down. And continuing operations as usual would require continued support from other space agencies involved: Russia, Europe, China, and Japan. That's not guaranteed, and the Chinese space station planned for operation in 2022 may pull some interest and money away from the ISS. Work to be done. In our last story, students in the U.S. who have a type of brain parasite carried by cats are more likely to be majoring in business studies. The pets are host for protozoan parasite Toxoplasma gondii. It can infect people through contact with cat feces, poorly cooked meat from infected livestock, or contaminated water, and as many as 1/3 of the world's population may have it. The parasite doesn't usually make us feel sick, but it forms cysts in the brain where it can remain for the rest of a person's life. Some studies have linked infection with slower reaction times, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, suicidal behavior, and explosive anger. Now, an analysis of almost 1,300 U.S. students has found that those who had been exposed to the parasite were 1.7 times more likely to be majoring in business. In particular, they were more likely to be focusing on management and entrepreneurship than other business-related areas. The study also found that professionals attending business events were almost twice as likely to have started their own business if they were T. gondii positive, and that countries with higher prevalence of infection show more entrepreneurial activity. The team behind the study say that their results suggest that the parasite may be involved in reducing a person's fear of failure and high-risk, high-reward ventures. Rodents infected with T. gondii are known to become less fearful of encountering cats, and that always ends badly. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
What's going on, Oxford fans? Cody right back here once again for this week's Sports Report. Well, this week we did cover the very last Parks and Rec softball game of the summer. We covered the 14U girls softball team. They had an undefeated season this year with the exception of one tie. A lot of these girls are either going into high school this next year and will hopefully make good additions to our softball program. Like I said, they were undefeated this summer, so things are definitely looking good. The game ended early this week due to weather. However, we did come out on top, and it was a great game overall. We managed to get out there to get an interview, so here it is. Check it out.
Okay, here we are with the girls 14U undefeated this year, aren't you?
Yeah.
We had one tie. Who did we tie against?
I don't even remember.
The Hawks. Are you gonna play them again?
No, this is our last game actually.
And this is our last game too. It was a great season this year. What was some of the best memories?
Playing with everybody.
Yeah, everybody from. I know you're from Oxford.
Yeah.
How many from Oxford? Oh, good. So are we gonna go out for the high school team?
Yep.
Awesome. What grade are we in?
Ninth, yeah.
Ninth. Okay. Well, good, because we got eighth. Okay. Well, we got some girls that graduate, so we got a lot of positions open. So work hard this summer and hopefully make that team, right? So anyways, we want to thank everybody. This is a great season this year. Thank everybody this season. Is a fitting to end it with the 14U. Your girls are really great this year. This is the second time we covered them. So thank you for watching all year. And everybody want to say thank you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And we want to thank Dan and Ron at Parks and Rec for what a great program, and the coaches and all the parents and all that. And we want to thank you for watching. Have a good night, everybody.
Well, it definitely has been a fun summer. We've had a lot to cover, but I think I speak for most sports fans when I say we are definitely ready to move on to fall sports. Football being a crowd favorite will be starting very shortly, along with cross country, volleyball, swim, golf, soccer, sideline cheer. I mean, we have a lot to look forward to. So you don't want to wait too long to check out the schedule, because these seasons have a way of coming and going very quickly. To get any info on these events and more, you can go to oxfordathletics.org. The schedules will be posted there shortly if they haven't been already. Game breakdowns, articles, statistics, and links to team websites, all of that can be found at oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of these events and more can be found on our YouTube page, which you can access through the website. That is OCCTV.org. And that is going to do it for this week's Sports Report. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you to tune in next time. But until then, I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Buick is expanding its Avenir sub-brand to the 2019 Regal Sportback. The midsize car redesigned for 2018 will be the fourth Buick globally to receive the high-end treatment. Following the debut of the Avenir on the Enclave large crossover last year, Buick has added the name to the LaCrosse sedan and in the U.S. and the GL8 in China. Avenir sales have exceeded their expectations, Phil Brook, Vice President of Buick and GMC Marketing, said in a statement. Customers value the exclusive styling, premier features, and convenient experience Avenir provides, and we are excited to extend that successful formula to the Regal. The Regal Sportback Avenir, like its predecessors, includes tweaked exterior and interior styling and additional convenience and luxury amenities such as 19-inch pearl nickel wheels and the brand's first cloud-connected infotainment system that allows for personal profiles. Other Avenir exclusive details include a 3D mesh upper grille and an interior with ebony accents, diamond quilt stitch front seats, and embroidered first-row red headrests. Buick said pricing for the Regal Sportback Avenir will be announced closer to when the car arrives in showrooms in early fall. If the brand follows the pricing strategy of other Avenir models, it should carry a roughly 10% premium compared with the current top-end Essence trim, which would put the starting price of the Regal Sportback Avenir around $35,000 to $36,000. The Regal Tourex wagon, which accounts for about a third of the car's sales, will not be available with the Avenir package, according to Buick. Duncan Aldred, Vice President of Buick and GMC, previously told Automotive News that Avenir eventually could spread to Buick's full lineup, as Denali has for GMC. You'll see Avenir roll out across many more models and maybe the whole range over time, he said in January. And on the recall front, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles is recalling an estimated 1.1 million Ram pickups in the U.S. to upgrade their tailgate locking mechanisms. The automaker August 2nd said the power locking mechanisms and tailgates of certain pickups have a small internal component that may break over time. FCA said over 1,149,000 U.S. vehicles have the defect. The recall affects Ram 15, 2500, and 3500 pickups from the 2015 through 2017 model years, the automaker said. The trucks have a power locking tailgate and either a 5-foot 7-inch, a 6-foot 4-inch bed. If the tailgate latch releases and the tailgate opens while driving, cargo may fall out, creating a road hazard and increasing the risk of a crash, the company's NHTSA filing states. Another 260,315 vehicles are subject to recall in Canada, along with 19,432 in Mexico and 25,361 in other markets. FCA opened an investigation as a result of customer complaints related to the tailgate falling open while driving or stationary on May 8th, the safety recall report states. Through May, June, and July, FCA analyzed and verified all known incidents related to the problem. As of July 13th, FCA identified 5,643 warranty claims and repair orders potentially related to the problem. FCA on July 19th decided to issue the recall. The automaker said no injuries or accidents have been reported. Customers will be notified when service is available, the automaker said, and in the meantime, FCA said customers may use alternate features to accommodate load security, including tie-down rings, cleats, high-friction bed liners, bulkhead dividers, and bed extenders. Trucks with manual tailgate locks with 8-foot cargo beds are not included in the recall. The redesigned 2019 Ram 1500 is also not included. The recall is expected to begin on September 14th. And still on the recall front, Volkswagen Group of America is recalling over 33,000 Golfs and Golf Sport wagons in the U.S. to address a rollaway risk. Another 24,123 vehicles are also being recalled in Canada. The automaker says that because of a buildup of silicate, a microswitch contact that detects position in the ignition switch and prevents the key from being removed while the vehicle is not in park, is defective. Removing the key while the shift lever is in a position other than park increases the risk of an unintended vehicle rollaway that may result in a personal injury or a crash, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration filing states. VW said no accidents or injuries have been reported. Volkswagen owners will be notified and dealers will install an additional switch and new circuit board to address the issue. The recall involves 8 vehicle models from 2015 to 2018 equipped with automatic transmissions. Models with push-button start, well, they're not affected. The automaker expects the recall to begin on September 8th. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Teens, the Oxford Library has a lock-in coming up on Friday, August 10th from 6 to 9 p.m. It's like summer camp all in one night. Join a cabin and complete in games and activities. The winning cabin gets a special prize. Register early because space is limited. For this event, you will need a parent-signed permission slip. Backed by popular demand, the Oxford Library is also hosting Perler Bead Creation Days on the 3rd Wednesday of every month. On August 15th, create a perler bead masterpiece with a group of friends from 3:30 to 5 p.m. For this event, just drop in. There's no cost to you and there's no need to sign up. Finally, on August 23rd, bring your ideas to the teen department. From 5 to 6:30 p.m., the Oxford Library wants to ask teens what you want from their library. You can offer ideas for service projects, clubs, or anything else you can come to mind. For more information, call them at 248-628-3034 or visit their website at miopl.org. This summer, families may struggle to make ends meet. Well, Love Inc. is a national Christian outreach program that provides help to members of the community in need. They organize free meals weekly at different churches around Oxford and Lake Orion area every Monday through Thursday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. On Monday, it will be hosted at the Lake Orion Methodist Church on 140 East Flint Street. On Tuesday, the Emmanuel Congregational Church on 1st Hovey Street in Oxford. On Wednesday, the Oxford United Methodist Church on 21 East Burdick Street will host. And finally on Thursday, Christ the King Church will host the dinner on 1500 West Drainer Road in Oxford. This is Oxford Community TV, and I'm your weekly calendar host, Rachel Baker. Please join us again for your weekly calendar of events.